Good morning, children. Welcome to science class. So, in science, we have completed with block 23, isn't it, children? So, let's start with block 24, which is natural disaster. So, natural disaster is the change in the nature, okay? And this change in the nature damages the people, animals, things, and plants. Okay, all the living beings will be suffering, and also along with that we can also suffer with the property loss. Okay, that is the natural disasters, and some of the natural disasters are floods, droughts, cyclones, tsunami, earthquake. All these are natural disasters, children, and these disasters can occur in any part of the world. Okay, it occurs everywhere around the world. Okay, so in this our first topic is about floods and drought. Okay, so please open your science content book, children, and turn to page number 148. Okay, so flood is the situation when the water from the water bodies overflow onto the land. Okay, so, whenever there is a heavy rainfall or when there is melting of snow into water, when the snow turns into water, these water bodies will be receiving more and more water, excess water. They'll be having excess water, more water. And because of that, this over water, excess water will flow onto the land, causing floods. Okay, can you see how the water is rushing onto the lands? Can you see the force of the water, children? How fastly it is rushing onto the land? Yes. So in that way, we suffer with the floods. Okay. And what happens with these floods is the buildings, it might be bridges, roads, farms, agriculture fields, all will get damaged because the water will be moving, isn't it? So all these will be washed away in the floods. Okay, children. Sometimes the if the force of the flood is less, then just the fields, farms only will get damaged. But if the force of the water in the flood is more, it can even damage a building also, children. The building also can be washed out. Okay, so be careful, we should be careful with these floods. And these floods you can see when where people live near the water bodies. It might be a sea, it might be a lake, it might be a river. So in those places, the places near these water bodies will be suffering with this floods. And also many plants and animals also will suffer. Why? Because the force of the water will be so high that it can wash away the plants, it can pull the roots, it can uproot the plants and trees also. And our animals also will suffer, animals also get washed away with these floods. Even the human beings get washed away sometimes if they are outside in the floods. Okay, so even animals and plants will be washed away in the floods. And the water, see, as it is traveling on the land, it's moving on the land, it gets dirty. And this dirty water from the flood mixes up with the clean drinking water, and it makes the water unsafe to use. Okay, and if in this case of flood, if we are in the flood area, we have to move to the higher floors. Okay, see, they are not on the land, they are standing on a wall, isn't it? That, and that wall is immersed in the flood, if you can see in the picture. Yes. So here the flood is little less. If the flood is very heavy, if the water is rushing out very very heavily with more amount of water, then people try to move to the higher buildings with more number of floors, or they will be on the higher areas. Okay, children. And when there is a flood, always the people who are living in that area should always boil the water and filter it before using it, before drinking, so that they can avoid the waterborne diseases. That means the diseases caused due to the water, they can avoid that. Okay, that's why they have to boil it, filter it, and then drink it. Okay, so this is about the flood. Now coming to the drought. Drought is exactly opposite to the flood. So flood is because of the excess water, isn't it? Drought is because of the no water, no rainfall. So drought happens when there is no rainfall for very long time, and the rivers, streams all got dried up. At that point you will be facing the drought situation. Can you see how the land has been cracked because of no water? So drought can also happen when the sources of water also dry up. So this, sometimes the land will be with the water, like a lake, like a some water body, a pond or something like that. When the water in that pond, lake or river completely dries up, then there'll be a drought. Can you can see like this? Okay. And what is the main cause of this drought? It's because of the deforestation, that is cutting down the trees is the main cause of drought. Okay. And in drought, land dries up completely and plants will die. Okay. Plants and animals do not get food and sometimes dry of hunger. Okay, because there is no water, we can't do agriculture also. And because there is no water, the plants die, and where do we get the food from? We don't get food, isn't it? Then people might die with the hunger. Okay, so these are the two different natural disasters which lead to a great loss of property, and also the humans, also the living things, we can say. Okay children, so in the next class we will learn about the other two natural disasters, that is cyclone and tsunami. Okay, so for this topic, floods and droughts, I have given few keywords in your daily schedule. Please learn them, write it in your classwork, and underline in your content book page numbers 148 and 149. Okay, now come, and if you find any other word which is difficult for you, you can include in your keywords and write it down. Okay, now coming to your question answers children. What is a natural disaster? Name some natural disasters. So a natural disaster is a change in the nature that cause damage to the people, plants, and animals. And some of the natural disasters are floods, droughts, cyclones, tsunami. All these are some of the natural disasters. Okay. Now coming to your next question. What should you do if you get stuck in a flood? So if you get stuck in a flood, you have to move to the higher floors of a building or to the higher area, isn't it children? And also we should not drink the water directly, isn't it? We should boil it and filter it, and we have to drink the clean water to avoid the waterborne diseases. Okay, so write this answer in your classwork and please learn it children. Coming to your next question, how can we help people in drought areas? So in drought means there is no water, isn't it children? There is no water and no food. So we can provide them with food and water so that they'll not suffer with hunger. Okay, now coming to your next last question, how is drought different from a flood? So a drought happens when there is no rain for a long period of time, and flood happens when it rains heavily. Okay, in a short period of time. So that is the difference between drought and flood. So children, here this is a weekend, Friday, no, that's why I have given the question answers for this topic. Please write it down, otherwise I would have given you in the on the next day, it's isn't it? So today is a Friday, so you can write the question answers and also do the homework, which is volume book. Okay, write these four answers in your classwork and learn it children. And coming to your homework, complete the volume book 2 pages, volume book 3 page number 40 S1 floods, page number 41 S2 droughts. Okay, so in the next class we will learn about cyclone and the tsunamis. Okay, so see you in the next class children. Bye.